everybody. It's Lynn Pelzer and Tracy Evans and Heather Meeks here with this Circle Life and Business Show.
Good morning.
Hi, everyone.
Good morning, ladies. So today our topic is leadership, inspiring others to grow. Hopefully everybody can see us well there. If you are on and watching, please send us a little, something so we know you're there. We're trying out something new. We've done this once before, but we love when we're together live with you guys. So once a month, we are live in the same room together, but we are doing something where we're live on our screens all together in our own homes. So this way we can interact with you a little bit more. So we hope that that works well. Ladies, today's topic is something that all three of us have a lot of experience with. I think as leaders, but also from being led, you learn a lot of what you liked about being led, and you have learned a lot about what you didn't like or what you thought didn't work, and then you implement that in your own leadership. So I'm excited to talk about that today. Ladies, did you want to start with anything? I have a few notes to share, but I want to hear from you first.
I'll jump in. I think, it's a subject certainly really close to my heart. It was through my leadership in the corporate world that and some lack thereof that really drove me to get into the field that I'm in, using horses to teach leadership, because I learned more from my horse in 45 minutes than I did in my entire MBA and corporate career. But I think one of the things that I've really learned over the years is when we think about leadership, we often think about leading a team, and we think about business, we think about corporate. And something that's been really clear for me over the years is leadership has a lot more to do with internal and how we lead ourselves. And every single day we have to make decisions that take us in further in our lives, right? And into new directions, hopefully, and exciting new things. And that takes a lot of leadership. So even though we're talking about leadership today, don't get stuck on, I don't have a team, or I'm not building a company or anything like that. You're leading a family, and at the very least, you're leading yourself. So this is really a really relevant topic for anybody in any walk of life.
And even in friendships, some people are trying to take a leader position, and they are encouraging to others, or they're a teacher, or whatever it is. Heather, what say you? I'm trying to watch on our.
I used to, always think that leadership, you had to be this, the main pillar of strength. And really, now that I am building a team, I realize that my role, sure, I am that strength for people to lean up against in, when they need help, but I'm kind of the person that's leading by example, and the one that is constantly kind of reminding the team of our vision and what our purpose is. So for me, I really spent a lot of time in the last 6 months trying to kind of read and educate myself more on leadership itself. And I really think it comes down to being that example. You can't expect people to do things that you're not doing yourself. And I feel like the more your team sees you engaged, the more they see you, doing those daily activities to grow your businesses, the more that they're able to kind of step into that role as well. And I mean, let's face it, as our teams grow, for example, in my industry, I have to develop new leaders because I can't carry all the weight myself, right? So I think it's just really leading by example, showing people the way, and, kind of walking your walk, talking your talk.
Yeah, exactly. And you think about that with kids.
Yeah.
That have an influence over kids, right? If you teach your kids that you pack up your bag the night before, so you're not running out the door like a crazy maniac at the last minute in the morning, you do that all the time, they witness it, and that's just life. So they start to do it. So it's funny how it's transferable skills in all areas. I'm looking on my phone here because I can't see it on our device that we're on our app that we're using here. I can say hi to Deb Fisher. Good morning, ladies, she said. Donna Lemur, hello, good morning. If I've missed anybody, I can't see you there yet. I love everything you ladies said. And Tracy, I'm so intrigued about the horse stuff. I think we should do a live show there with you, or you talk a little bit about that.
I
It'd be
think
fun.
I think it's something you need to kind of see a snippet of to really get how it works. So if you're up for it, maybe we'll do that one time.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
Camera shy like me.
I'm going to run through a few things because for me with leadership, I went from being a dental hygienist, not really in a leadership role, although sort of second in command, I guess, in the office, let's say, after the dentist would be the hygienist, and that's sort of how it goes. So we had a little bit of authority over some things. But I really had no idea. And when I got into network marketing and I started leading a team and it was growing quickly, I was just looking to everyone else to figure it out. I'm like, there's no real manual here. I was reading books on leadership and things like that, but it just didn't come that clear to me. What should I be doing specifically for people? And I learned a lot, I felt, from the what to do and what not to do by how I was led or not led. Yeah. So number one, I think, was be a good listener. You know, when you're leading anyone, people want to be heard. And being a good leader is really hearing people, whether it's what you want to hear or you don't want to hear. You got to really let them know that they're heard so that they can value you. I thought that was an important piece. Another thing for leadership is being accountable for your own mistakes. Right? So sometimes it's like, let's elevate this leader onto this pedestal and they're so perfect and you can never let people see you sweat, sort of thing. But when you make a mistake, there is nothing better and more full of integrity than a leader saying, I made a mistake. And owning it. And people learn from it. Like, it is such a good teaching moment. What do you think, Tracy, about that one?
If I could even take that one more step and say that's huge, absolutely, that we own as leaders our own mistakes, but also allowing our teams to make mistakes. And I see this so often. I see this in the teams that we work with here and in teams that I've been part of before, where everyone is so afraid that someone's going to take a misstep and that they don't try anything new. And, you know, in a world that we live in, we have to be innovative. We have to constantly be changing and stretching ourselves. And if we're always afraid to make mistakes because our leader can't make a mistake, that becomes a real issue. And it can really stifle a team. It can stifle a family. It can stifle your whole life, right? Like the things you don't try just because you're afraid it won't go right.
Right. And it creates secrets.
Yeah.
And I think people end up seeing it as the leader has to be perfect, so to speak. It's kind of like that type A perfectionism complex, right? We're all human. And I think that even if you are in a leadership position, leading a big team, for example, I think exactly what you said, Lynn, it's about owning our mistakes. I mean, it's what makes us relatable. It's what makes us human. And having our team be able to witness that, I think, is awesome.
Everybody learns, you know.
Yeah,
everybody learns from it. Good morning to Karen Kessler. I know that Karen, all about leadership. So good morning, Karen. I also see Rebecca Greco, one of my close friends. I love you, Rebecca. I see Amber, Suzanne, Adriana, Leo. Welcome, lady.
Yay!
Thanks for joining. So, okay, the number 3. This seems like the simplest thing as a leader, and it could be, you know, you might be just this way naturally. Some people are not, is to be encouraging. Yeah. And encourage people when you know that it's something they should be encouraged about. Like, don't encourage them to do something ridiculous that you're like, that's never going to happen. I mean, be realistic about it, but saying you've got this to someone at the right moment is really powerful, I think. You know, stepping in there and just letting them know that you think you believe in them, that they can do it. It's as simple as that. A phrase. Maybe you've got this is not the phrase you would use, but I find that to be massive.
And also congratulating them when they do something well.
Yes.
And it's really amazing. And I hope if I'm jumping your numbers, tell me, Lynn.
Yes.
Because it's not okay, sorry. We'll wait then. I'm just saying because it's lost and we get so busy and everybody's running and everybody's doing their job and everything's going great. When things are going great, sometimes leaders get quite quiet. And that's the time to really be celebrating those small successes because that's what keeps people going. We don't want to hear from our leaders every time something goes wrong. We want to hear the good stuff too. And that can get lost. So always remember to be recognizing those small wins, that try, even if it doesn't work the way you think it's going to work, you gave it a shot, and encourage that behavior that you really want to get out of your team and your family.
Yeah. 100%. I personally believe that the power of that really shows in your retention rate in your team, right? Yeah. So super important. I actually, just to share a little tiny story, one of our leaders, and some people look at it like it's always this like sis boom ba rah rah rah. In reality, I suppose it is, but waking up every morning and logging on to our team group and seeing, some type of quote or some type of saying, some type of inspiration, some type of vision that you're, showing your team, it just makes you that much motivated for the day.
Yeah.
It really does. It's huge.
We used to always say in the corporate world, if you get to your performance review and you're surprised by your rating, good or bad, your leader hasn't done their job, because this should not be a once a year yank for you, or, oh, this could have been better. And it's the same for us personally, right? When we're leading ourselves, we are the first to tell ourselves when we've done something wrong. We're the first to berate ourselves for every mistake. So also remember to be rewarding yourself as your own personal leader for those tries and those opportunities that you took.
Absolutely.
Now, if I'll add to that one, I was going to say give credit where credit is due. So like celebrating the wins, but also don't take credit yourself. I have seen leaders that are, I want to say, more immature leaders, newer in leadership, and they're excited about that they had a hand in this, right? But it has to be nothing about you. It really has to be. And it's a big turnoff to the rest of the team to want to follow a leader that's going to take credit for the hard work they've done. Because sometimes leaders are doing a lot for someone, and sometimes what they're able to do is just that little push they needed, but it's all about what the person's doing. The leader didn't create them. And so I think that can be sort of on the flip side, a very negative if that happens, where leaders are kind of like, oh, look at my, whatever, and I created, and that is tough. And I think that's important to note. But also think about the rest of the team. Yeah. Give credit where credit is due. Not like, don't be pumping up people who actually haven't really earned it because it's just maybe their turn, right? It can't be that it's just somebody's turn, or else it's not authentic, because that also sometimes happens where there's this sort of, oh, well, we're not sure who we're recognizing this month, so let's recognize, so-and-so. But other people in the team are thinking, what?
I do. Yeah.
I've seen what's happened there. So all of those things are either going to build your credibility as a leader and your love with your team, or they could take it away. So that's what I want to say about that one. Another one, which I know both of you are going to have something to say about this. Don't jump in too soon to solve the problem.
Oh my God.
Don't want to fix. Right?
This can be really hard.
Yeah.
And the reality is a real leader builds leaders. And you can't build leaders by solving every problem and getting your hands in there. And that's something that most leaders grow into it. You're not born with it because you got to that position or you got to that status because you know what you're doing. And when you're bringing up new people, to be able to just allow them to do it is so important. And I've learned this a lot along the way, not just from the sense of empowering people and getting them to do great work and want to do greater work, but just in the sense that you don't actually have all the answers as much as you think you do as the leader, and allowing people that opportunity to go and try things their way and do things their way. Half the time it's going to be better because it's going to be a new idea, fresh input, and perhaps a whole different perspective that we wouldn't have heard if we jumped in and just took over, right?
Yeah, and it's asking how you can help about the situation, but letting them explain that, because I also think sometimes we are wanting to assist, but we assume what they need or want. So I think, growing in your leadership, which also was a really, really good point, Tracy, is that, some people have this natural born leadership in them somewhat, but most of it is taught and most of it is through experience.
Yeah.
So don't beat yourself up about it if you don't know all the answers right away, because year by year, you actually do become like, oh, I know how to handle that situation now.
Yeah.
I
would have team members come in looking for a solution. They'd have a problem. They'd be like, here's my problem. And I'm like, well, don't bring me a problem. Bring me your solution. And then we'll talk it out.
Right. Oh, I love that. Heather.
Yeah, you know what? That one's a huge one for me, because I will admit that in my last business, I kind of looked at it from the standpoint that I was that person that was always giving the answers. And it ended up snowballing for me because my team wasn't duplicating. They were too afraid to do it on their own. And I was basically a hand holder. I was micromanaging my people, not intentionally, but that's what it ends up turning into when you're the one that's always, okay, here, you know what, let me do it for you. Let me show you.
Yeah.
Now it's fine. I find I will point people in the right directions. I will absolutely ask questions. But it's up to them, to take ownership of their own businesses and at least try to find the answer for themselves, find the solution. If they're wrong, great. But like Tracy said, bring me the solution and let's work through it together.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only way that people learn, and then the only way that people learn how to be better leaders themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree. And one more point is sort of on that, which is teaching, directing people to something that could be an answer for them, but let them finding it. And someone once told me this, it's like a chess match. You move, then they move. You don't move 5 times before they take the next move to sort of, okay, now we're going to do this and now we're going to do that. But they haven't actually caught on to it. So a good leader allows them that space and acknowledges that that's where you're at and that's okay. Or if it's not okay because it's a specific job, I mean, Tracy, you would speak to this in a corporate situation, you get a performance review and maybe you're out and that's what the leader might be doing. But for many other things, it is just like you cannot expect them to be on the 3rd step when they haven't done step 1 and 2.
Right.
So don't.
Can I just, yeah, absolutely. And I just want to add something to that. Just what you said. I mean, in leadership, it's really about everybody is going to be at a different level. And it's really about finding out, what level those people are at by asking questions and honoring them exactly where they're at as a leader. I find that so important. Sometimes, and I've seen in past experience, leaders expecting you to be those 5 chess moves ahead, when really by step 2, the overwhelm has completely set in and they're lost. You have to really honor people exactly where they're at and work with them from that point forward.
Yep. I'm going to check our comments here. If there's something, if we have a question, if anybody has a question, drop it in. Hopefully I'm seeing it here. I see Dion's watching. Deb Fisher said, so believe that people relate to our weaknesses, which allows them to see our imperfections. Yeah, it comes back to authentic leadership too. I mean, gone are those days of cracking the whip.
You see that as a big challenge because in my past life, you were very much judged for your persona and your how you impress a room and all those things to get up to that level. There's certain things that the higher ups are looking for, and there's that polish and all the speak that they're looking for. And it's a real balance when you're working on how to manage up as well as how to bring your people along, because you need that authenticity. And I was always a little bit out of the box. I laugh a lot, and I laughed a lot in front of our CEO. I didn't care. I'm here to have a good time, and I work way better when I'm having fun. But it becomes, how do you be real enough for your team and not too real for the culture, And that's that was always a big challenge I found in the corporate world, because I'm just me, and probably why I'm doing what I do now.
You do it well.
It's like that boss mentality that they expect you to have. It's not even like a leader. It's like that you're the boss. It's like that boss mentality of, you know, demanding the way rather than showing the way type of thing.
Great distinction, boss versus leader.
Yeah.
You know, we look at our bosses in a traditional job as the leader perhaps, but often there is a leader within that, right? Like one of the employees is actually the person who's leading a lot of people without formally
Absolutely.
doing that. So, okay, ladies, anything else you'd like to add? I want to say good morning to Suzanne Kelly. Good morning. She's a city leader. Susie Taylor, there's Dion. Good morning, ladies. So I want to say that if anybody has any questions, we're going to be talking about leadership all week. Generally, as we do a live video, and then we like to talk about it during the week and add to it. And any questions that you have, bring it to us. We're happy to give you our opinions and our ideas and our experiences about that. Ladies, anything else you want to add into that? I see somebody says boss versus leader. Yeah.
Well, maybe we can end with just what's our kind of one leadership tip that we would want people to hang on to? I can start. When I think about leadership, through all the trainings I've done and all the training I do here, the thing I would leave you with is it's not rocket science. And if you can just be the leader that you would want to follow, you're probably light years ahead of most leaders out there.
Oh my gosh, so very similar for me, because I would say be authentic and real. That's the same thing. That is what I would say. That will get you so far. And in being authentic, you're thinking about other people's feelings, where they're at, seeing the whole picture, instead of thinking that it's just in this little box that it's XYZ that I need to do.
Absolutely.
I think mine is the total same. It's really focusing on each relationship individually, you know, from me, from a team perspective, and just back to what you said to kind of kick off point number one is just honing in and listening. I think that is huge.
Awesome. Okay, ladies, we're going to finish this one up. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Please share this, comment. You can share it on Facebook. We also load this into our YouTube channel, so you can subscribe there too. Share this with your friends as well if you want them to join the group and be able to see our videos live and be able to be part of the conversation. So we miss you, Tammy, because you're not here today. I'm sure you're going to watch.
You.
And we'll see you all back here in 2 weeks with our next broadcast. Bye.
Thanks for joining, everyone. Have a great day.
Have a great day.